In today's class, if you have a block like so, it will be nice because we'll just use it at the end to really extra de-stress our backs. That being said, I don't have a plan for today's class. I prefer free flowing, so we're just going to free flow together. And I'll do my best to keep this a short class because I know sometimes 50 minutes is a bit long for a class, so 30 minutes, we'll try. All right, so we're just going to stand at the top of our mat to begin, as per usual. So feet hip width apart, lift up through your toes, reach them wide, and then grip down through the mat just to really start with a strong base. We're going to engage our quads by lifting our kneecaps up as if we're pulling them up into our hips. Tuck your tailbone. So to do this, instead of dropping your belly down, you're pulling your tailbone back behind you and drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Your shoulders, you want to roll back and down, almost as if you're pressing your chest out towards the front of the room. I like to rotate my palms towards the front of the room to open up through my biceps, reaching the crown of my head tall and keeping my chin slightly tucked in, and just standing here in Tadasana mountain pose. Taking a few deep breaths, inhaling all the way down into your belly, and slowly exhaling, making your exhales twice as long as your inhales. We'll do one more breath. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, rise your arms up towards the sky. Come onto tippy toes, reach tall. And then exhale, swing your arms down, lower your heels, and drop your belly down, reaching your tailbone up, coming into a forward fold. It's just our first forward fold of the day, so take it easy. You might want to have a slight bend in your knees. You can let your hands hang heavy on the ground, place them on your shins. Here, try and compress your belly in towards your upper thighs. So rather than pulling your head down, just draw from your belly and feel that activation as you pull yourself in towards your thighs. Reach your tailbone up towards the sky and rotate your inner thighs outwards. So as if your inner thighs are pointing away from each other. This is going to help you open up into your tailbone and into the back of your hamstrings a bit more. Inhale to a halfway lift. So draw your belly in towards your spine as the crown of your head reaches forwards. Try and keeping a straight back here and your tailbone still reaching towards the sky. Place your hands onto the mat, step back into the top of the plank position. Reach out through your heels, press out through your shoulders. So you want your hands to be shoulder width apart and try and draw your belly in towards your spine, constantly drawing your belly in towards our spine, keeping core engagement here. Taking one more breath here in plank. And then you can either take knees, chest, chin to go down or shift your weight forward so you're coming onto your tippy toes, shoulders in front of your fingertips, and then lower down through chaturanga, keeping your elbows in towards your spine or your waist. Come onto the tops of the feet, inhale into cobra. So in cobra, we have our thighs on the mat, tops of our feet are pressing down, your shoulders are rolling back and down. You can also take an upward dog here, which is where your thighs are lifted off the mat. That's just a bit deeper on the lower back. And personally right now, my lower back wants a little gentler of a movement. Taking one more breath here, reaching the crown of your head tall. And then we're going to tuck our toes, and as we exhale, we're going to press our hips back and up, pushing down through our hands, finding our way into downward dog. So here you want to push out through your shoulders, trying to elongate that line from your hands all the way to your tailbone, making it as long and straight as you can. Your tailbone's reaching towards the sky, and see if you can reach your heels towards the mat. If they don't hit the mat, that's perfectly fine. It's the action of pulling your heels down, stretches through your hamstrings. Take a few breaths here. If you want to take any wiggles, any knee bends, just feeling yourself into the pose, do that. The best part of these poses is finding what feels best in your body. It's not matching exactly how I'm doing it or how somebody tells you to do it. It's finding what pose fits your body or what version of each pose. On your next inhale, bend your knees, shift your gaze forward, and exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale into a halfway lift. Your gaze is forward, and exhale, fold, bringing that compression from your lower belly. Inhale, we're gonna rise all the way up to standing, reaching your hands tall towards the sky, and exhale, hands to your side. Inhale as you bring your hands to your heart center, close down the eyes, your hands in prayer, and take a breath here. Inhale, swing your arms towards the sky, reaching up tall, long through the waist. And then you're gonna bring your right hand towards your right thigh and slide it down your thigh as you reach your left hand towards the sky. So we're not trying to stretch as far as we can towards the right. We're trying to lift up through our waist and over. So when you're lifting up, you should feel the stretch more in your whole side body, including your upper rib area, rather than just collapsing through your lower spine, which is what I used to always do. Exhale, bring your left hand down towards your left side. Right hand towards the sky, pull up through your right hand, almost as if somebody's trying to pull you up towards the roof, and then slide your left hand down your side. And try and don't collapse your shoulder down towards the mat. So you want your right shoulder to be parallel to the front of the room as your hand is reaching up towards the sky. You might feel a bit of a stretch in the front of your hip bone. This is perfectly fine. Wherever you feel the stretch, just breathe into those pot spots. And exhale, swing your right hand down to meet your thigh. Inhale, rise arms up to standing. And exhale, we're gonna sink our hips down, bending our knees, coming down into chair pose. I like to bring my hands towards the mat and then lift them back up, opening up through the chest, drawing your belly in towards your spine, sinking your hips down like you're sitting on a chair. Check in with your knees, see that they're over top of your toes, not any further out. I like to keep my feet together, so my knees are pressing in towards each other here. And then exhale, press your hips up, let your chest fall down, coming into a forward fold. Here we are gonna curl through the spine, so it gives us a bit of a different extension in the forward fold when you don't act with the compression and rather you do curl your head in. This helps to stretch more through your lower spine and your tailbone. You can curl your head in towards your chest and then let it hang heavy. Maybe bring your hands to opposite elbows. You can swing side to side, just releasing a bit deeper into your spine. Inhale to a halfway lift. Your hands can be just grazing the ground. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back to the top of the plank position. Shift forward, lower down through chaturanga, or take knees, chest, chin. Inhale, tops of the feet, pressing down, chest rising up into upward facing dog. You can take cobra if you would like, keeping your thighs on the mat, or upward dog so your thighs are hovering off. Either way, still press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Rolling your shoulders back. Tuck toes, exhale, press back into downward facing dog. Pressing out through the shoulders, elongating through the spine. The next inhale, we're gonna bring our right foot forward, placing it between our hands at the top of the mat, and inhale up into high lunge. Rise your arms up and sink down. Try and rotate that right hip back, left hip forward, keeping your right knee at 90 degrees, and lift up through the chest. So when you lift up through the chest, you can't collapse down into your waist, and that allows you to engage your core more. Straighten your right leg, so both legs are straight, and then lower your spine down towards your right thigh. It's a bit of a balance challenge. You can place your hands on the mat and then step your right foot back and find your way back into downward facing dog. Exhale here. Inhale as you roll forward into the top of a plank position. Lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, press back into downward facing dog. Take one breath here. And then inhale, bring that left foot forward, placing it between the hands at the top of the mat. And inhale, up into a high lunge. I like to sit up, sink the hips down, roll your shoulders back, check in with the hips, peeling your left hip slightly back and lifting up through the chest. Try and taking your right heel and flex it and pull it far back. This will help you stretch through the front of your right hip. Inhale, straighten your left leg, lift up through the chest, and then exhale, hinge at the hips, bringing your chest towards your left thigh. Lower your hands onto the mat, and then step your left foot back to meet your right. Find your way into downward dog. And then we're going to take 3 spinal rolls. So from here, you're going to press into your toes, lifting your heels up, and then letting that action move through your lower spine, pressing out through your shoulder blades as you roll your body forward into a high plank. Bend your knees, arch your spine slightly, press your butt back as your heels reach the ground, and find your way back into downward dog. So do this 2 more times, moving with your breath. So inhaling, rolling out forward into your plank, pressing out through the shoulders, taking it slowly, feeling through your whole spine, and exhale as you press your hips back, rolling into your downward dog. 1 more, just move with your breath. Inhale, roll forward. And exhale, roll back. If you want more sensation in your lower back, you can keep your legs straight in that last press back. Find your way into downward dog, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale to a halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest up, find your way into chair pose. And exhale, find your way to standing. Inhale, rise arms towards the sky. And then exhale, bring your thumbs underneath your armpits and peel your shoulders kind of back, almost like you're putting on a backpack, opening up through your chest, letting your head fall back slightly, giving ourselves a bit of a back bend here. You can bring your hands to your lower spine to support your lower spine. You can have your fingers pressing, pointing up, your palms kind of on the top of your butt, lifting up through your chest, and see if you can sink a bit farther into that back bend. We're trying here to bend through our upper back and not collapsing through our lower spine. Taking 1 more breath here. And then inhale, rise up to standing. Rise up, arms up. On your next exhale, lift your right foot slightly off the ground so it's hovering, and kick your right heel towards the sky as you hinge your body forward, coming into like a T position or warrior 3. So you're reaching long through your fingertips and through your heel, trying to keep your body as straight as you can. Exhale as you bring your hands towards the mat, kicking your right heel up further towards the sky, coming into a standing split here. Try and keep your hips in one plane, so rotating that right hip down, keeping them even, and keeping a flex through your right heel. Bend your right heel if you want. Step your left hand slightly out in front of you, and then see if you can hover your right hand off the mat. If you can and you feel comfortable, you can reach behind you, find your right foot with your right hand, and then kick your foot up towards the sky, coming into candy cane. This is a really nice stretch through the back kind of glute muscle of your left foot, but then it also opens up through your right hip and through your right shoulder. This is one of my favorite poses because it kind of stretches your entire body at once. It works on your balance, your strength, your flexibility. Bend through your left knee, and then see if you can press up, and then bring your right knee down. So you're standing on your left leg with your right foot held. Release your right foot, kick your right foot out in front of you. Bring your hands to your hips. And then swing your right foot out towards your right side. If your foot is low, that's still perfectly fine. If your foot's high, that's perfectly fine. Try to keep your right shoulder kind of stacked on top of your left shoulder on top of your left hip, so you're not leaning out to counterweight your leg. You're really letting your inner thigh hold your leg up. Swing your right foot back behind you. Let it find the ground as you lower into a high lunge. Inhale up, and then exhale. Sink your right knee towards the ground. Untuck your toes. Press your hips back. Lower your face towards your left knee. And find a half splits here. You can maybe walk your left foot forward a little bit. Taking one more breath here. Then inhale up. Rotate your right ankle so it's over the left side of the mat. Lift up your heels and square your hips towards the front of the mat, or so your right long edge of the mat. Inhale up, and then exhale, bring your right hand towards your right side. Left hand comes overhead into gate pose here. Rotate your your left shoulder slightly back, so you're opening up through your chest. On your next exhale, swing your left hand towards your left foot as your right hand comes towards the sky, lifting up and out. If you want, you can swing it over towards the left side to really stretch through that right upper hip, lower spine area. Exhale as you rotate your chest back towards the front of the mat, kind of swinging your right foot back into that half splits. Tuck your right toes, step your left foot back to meet your right, finding your way into downward dog, pressing out through your shoulders. And we'll just take one breath here. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale all the way up to standing, and exhale, hands to your side. Now we'll try and do that all on the left side. Inhale, rise arms up. Bring your left foot to hover slightly off the mat. And as you exhale, kick your left heel up towards the sky as you bring your chest down, finding your way into Warrior 3 or airplane. Rotate your pinky toes on your left foot so they're facing towards the ground. This is going to help you straighten out through your hips more and keep them level in one line. Pulling out through your hands. Drawing your belly in towards your spine. And then exhale, continue to kick your left foot towards the sky as your hands come to the mat, finding your way into standing splits. Try and rotate your pinky toes towards the ground again. Keeping a flex in your left heel, kicking it up as high as you can, your foot. And then bend your left foot towards your right butt cheek. Step your right hand slightly out in front of you and see if you can hover your left hand off the mat. If this is perfect for you, just stay here and work with this balance. If you want a bit more, bring your left hand to find your left foot. I like to grab the outside ankle and then kick your left foot up into your hand, stretching into your spine, your hips, and your core. Try and keep your toes wide and gripping into the mat to find your balance here. And then bend your right knee. And then see if you can come up into standing. So your left knee is pointing towards the ground and you have your left hand in your left foot. Anyway, okay. Now we're going to bring our left foot out in front of us Hands to your hips, your left foot flexed out in front of you. My right calf is starting to cramp. Swing your left foot out towards your left side. Try and keep your foot flexed. Try and keep your right shoulder kind of stacked on top of your right hip. And just let your foot hold out there with the strength of your inner thigh. Exhale, swing your left foot back behind you. Lower down into a high lunge. Sink here in your high lunge. And then exhale, lower your left knee down, untuck your toes, sink your hips back, lower your hands to the mat, and find your way into a half splits. I want to wiggle my right foot forward a little bit, so you have the option to do that, or you can keep it where it is. Try and keep your left hip stacked on top of your left knee. You can flex your right toes back towards your head. This is going to stretch deeper into your hamstring here. Take one more breath. And then exhale, kind of sink forward. Rotate your left heel, so your left heel is now on the right edge of the mat. Lift up through your chest. So your left hip is stacked on top of your left leg. Your right leg is straight. Inhale, rise up, and exhale, bring your left hand out towards your side. Your right hand comes overhead, stretching here into gate pose. Rotate your right shoulder slightly back, opening up through the chest. And then exhale, swing your right hand towards your right foot as you lift up through your left hand towards the sky. And then if you want more stretch, bringing it out towards your right foot as well. Trying to rainbow out through your spine, so almost as if you're pressing your left ribs towards the sky. Stay active through your left fingertips. Exhale, bring your left hand towards the mat as you rotate your chest towards the front of the mat. Rotate back into that half splits. Tuck your left toes, step your right foot back to meet your left, and find your way into downward dog. Press out through the shoulders, reach your tailbone towards the sky. Inhale, lift your heels up, roll forward through the spine, coming into a plank. And then we're going to lower our chest all the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes, and then lift the spine up into, what even is this? It's like, this is actually Cobra. Maybe I've been explaining Cobra wrong. Okay, so it's just your belly's on the mat, your hands are down, pressing down, and your chest is lifting up. Exhale, lower your forehead down to the mat. Bring your hands onto the mat, so your forearms are on the mat about shoulder width apart. And inhale up here. Now we're into Sphinx pose. Press down through your elbows and lift up through your chest. Keep your feet pressing down into the mat as well. The more active you keep your feet and like your lower legs, the less compression you will have in your lower spine. So if you don't activate your legs and you press up, you're going to feel a bit of a crunching in your spine. But if you keep your legs active, it's going to engage your muscles and it's going to help your spine stretch more and just without pain, which is, we all want to move without pain. So keep your legs active, press your feet into the mat. Exhale, roll your forehead down, pressing out through your shoulders here. So your forehead is kind of curling in towards your chest, but your shoulders are pressing up and out. So you should feel this through like the back of your shoulder blades. Inhale, kind of drop your chest, lift your crown of your head up, and then press your chest up. These are really small movements, but you should be feeling the different engagements. We keep a lot of tension in our shoulders, So it's really good to be able to isolate these movements and stretch just small little parts. Curl your head in, press your shoulders up and out. When I press my shoulders up and out, the upper part of my belly kind of lifts off the mat. My biceps are also feeling it because I'm really pressing down through my elbows and out through my shoulders, curling my head in. And then drop your belly onto the mat again. Press your shoulders back, lift your chest up and out. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press up into your upward dog. Tuck your toes. And then exhale, press back into downward facing dog. See if you feel any release here in your lower spine now that you're in downward dog, stretching straight through your spine again after some back bends. Just notice if you feel any differences. Inhale, you're going to kick your right heel up towards the sky, coming into three-legged dog. Pressing out through your hands, and then kick your right heel towards your butt, rotating your right knee towards the sky, trying to keep your chest squared down towards the mat. And then your right knee is going to draw a big rainbow circle and find its way towards your right armpit as you press your body forwards into a high plank with your right knee touching your right arm. Swing your right knee over to touch your right elbow. Lower it down. Inhale it up. Swing it back to touch your right elbow. Sorry, I think I said right last time. Anyway, lower it down. Inhale it up. And then kick it back behind you. Three-legged dog. Take a breath here. And then inhale, roll forward, keeping that right leg lifted. Lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, keeping that right leg up. And then kick back, three-legged dog. Exhale, release your right foot down towards the mat. Take one breath. And then inhale, your left heel kicks towards the sky. Flexing through your left heel. Keeping your chest square towards the mat, pressing out through your shoulders. Exhale as you bend your left heel towards your butt, rotating your knee towards the sky. Stretching through the hips a little bit more. You can almost stack them on top of each other. And then as you exhale, you're going to draw a big circle with your left knee and swing it forward towards your left armpit as you come into a plank here. Bring your left knee towards your right armpit, lower it down towards the mat, inhale it up, bring it towards your left, lower it down, inhale it up, exhale, kick it back behind you, three-legged dog. Inhale, roll forwards into a high plank, keeping that left leg high, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog with your left leg lifted. And then exhale, kick it back behind you. Release your left leg towards the mat and find your way into downward dog. Lift your heels up, roll forward, lower your knees down, finding tabletop. Sit back on your heels, inhale your chest up. Maybe take a few neck swings, rotating your neck from side to side. Inhale, rise your arms up as you straighten up through your legs so your hips are stacked on top of your knees and your shoulders are stacked on top of your hips. Hands reaching towards the sky. Tuck your toes behind you. We're setting up for camel here. So bring your right hand towards your right heel. Lift up through your left hand and then swing it slightly back behind you, supporting yourself with your right hand here and just giving yourself a slight back bend. We're not going too far into the pose right now. And then exhale, swing your left hand towards your left heel as you lift your right hand up towards the sky and sit your right hand slightly back, pressing your hips forward, Inhale, rise up, bring both hands towards the sky. And then exhale, bring your hands towards your lower back. Place your palms so they're on your butt. Your fingers are pointing up towards your spine. Lift up through the chest and then rotate back. Try and keep that same action of, remember when we were putting on our backpack and peeling our shoulders back. So lifting through the chest here, letting the back bend come from your upper body as well as your lower spine. If you want and you feel good here, you bring your hands to reach your heels. Press out through your chest, roll your shoulders back. Almost like you're lifting your chest up towards the sky, and you can let your head fall back and relax. Just notice any sensations you feel here in this back bend. Back bends can be scary. They can be scary because they often can be associated with pain. Because a lot of people have pain in their lower back. But if you keep activation through your legs and try and let the back bend come from your whole spine, so your upper body as well as your lower spine, rather than just crunching into your lower spine, it should feel a bit better and a bit more approachable. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, curl your head back in. Draw your hands up towards the sky, sitting up, and then sink your hips down towards your heels. Bring your hands towards the mat. Find your way into tabletop, untuck your toes. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest up towards the sky, your tailbone up, into your cow pose. And then exhale, curl through your whole spine into cat, trying to counteract all that back bend that we did. So pressing out through your shoulders, through your lower spine. Inhale, drop the belly into cow. And exhale, curl into cat. Inhale, drop the belly, cow. And as you exhale, you're going to peel or sink your hips back towards your butt as you press out, rolling through your spine, and then roll forward. Inhale, drop the belly, peel or pull your hips back towards your heels, and then press your body forward. So your shoulders, you're pressing out through your shoulders are coming in front of your fingertips. And then lower your hips down, untuck your toes, find your way into upward facing dog. Tuck toes, exhale, press back into downward facing dog. Pressing out through your shoulders. Take your heels and rotate them towards the left side of your mat. Tent up onto your right fingertips and try and rotate your chest so it's facing the right edge of the mat. Stretching here into the right side body. If you want, you can bring your right foot off the mat. And if you want, you can also bring your right hand off the mat, coming into a side plank here. Or you can have your feet stacked. Or you can just stay in that tented stretch. Either way, we'll make our way back to that tented stretch and then rotate our heels back towards the sky and find our way into downward dog. Take one breath here, then inhale, lift heels up. Exhale, sink them towards the right side. Tent up onto your left fingertips and stretch through your left side body here. Take one more breath, and then if you want, you have the option of lifting up that left leg, maybe your left hand, bringing yourself into a side plank, pressing out through your right hand and right foot. Wherever you are, find your way back into that tented stretch, and then back into a straight downward dog. Inhale, roll your body forward into a high plank, and then exhale, let your hips sink. So we're in hovering upward dog. So your toes are still tucked into the mat. your thighs are completely off the mat. And then bend your right heel. So your right heel is towards your right butt. And then see if you can lower your left thigh down as you find the ground with your right foot behind you, or behind your left side. I'm really not good at explaining today. So you're kind of stretching into your side body, or honestly, you're stretching into wherever you feel this stretch. It might be your upper left hip. It might be your right side body. Exhale, bring it back to upward facing dog, tuck toes into your hovering dog. And then flex your left heel, so your left heel is coming towards your butt. Rotate your left foot towards your right side, letting your right leg completely side onto the mat. And take your little stretch here. I like to gaze over my shoulder at my foot that's bent on the ground. Exhale, bring it back. Now we're going to lower our chest down. So you're in that kind of cobra. And we'll do it again. So you bring your right foot back behind you. See if this time you can place your right heel or your right foot completely flat on the ground and rotate your right knee towards the sky. This is going to stretch even deeper into your lower back. Exhale, swing back into cobra. Bend your left foot. Lift your left foot up. Place it behind your right side body. Try and put your foot completely flat on the ground and lift your left heel towards the sky. And keep your chest parallel to the ground. Mine's actually opening up off the ground, so you don't actually need to keep it parallel, but it's the action of thinking it's almost parallel. Exhale, swing it back. Lower your whole body down. Fold your hands in front of each other so your forehead rests on your hands. This is Makasana, crocodile pose. Press down through the feet. And then we're going to continue with this trend of back bends. Flex your feet and lift them up so they're kicking towards your butt. Exhale, release them. Untuck your hands, place them on the mat, and lift up your chest as you kick your heels up, just like we did last time, but now you're lifting your chest up as well. So you can have your elbows on the mat in Sphinx, or you can have your hands pressing down, your elbows off, stretching slightly deeper into the back here. Exhale, release it all. Inhale, we're going to lift our right knee only, flex that right foot, and then lift your left foot up and place it on top of your right foot. So you want your right foot to be on your upper thigh or your calf. You just don't want it to be pressing directly on your knee. And then lift up through your chest into lotus pose. Locust, sorry. Exhale, release. Lower your forehead down. Inhale, bend your left knee, flex your left foot, lift your right foot up and place it on top of your left thigh, your left foot. And then inhale your chest slightly up. Notice any differences between your right and your left side. For me, I feel this much stronger in my right side. So my right hips and right back are a lot tighter than your left. So it's really great to do poses back to back, side to side, so that you can notice any differences and imbalances in your body. Exhale, release it all down. Okay, our next pose is one of my favorites. It may seem a little daunting, but when I first realized that I could do it, I was shocked. So I'll guide you how to get into it, and then we'll try it. So bring your hands down, like palm down. My microphone is might not like this. So your hands palm down underneath your belly, and then lift your legs up. Just see how high you can go, kind of flexing through your lower spine, kicking your heels up. Exhale, release. We're going to do this again, but you're going to swing your legs all the way up into the air. takes a lot of back strength to kind of pull yourself up, but then once you're up, you have to change. It takes different muscles to hold you up. So we'll try it just once. If you don't get it, that's completely fine. So pressing down through your chest. Inhale. Lifting up through your legs. Pressing your hands into the mat. Exhale, release it down. I think that my explanation there was not that great. Hopefully you tried it. Hopefully you had fun. Okay, find your hands underneath your shoulders. Peel up into upward facing dog. Tuck toes. Exhale, find your way into downward facing dog. After all that back bending, it's nice to be into a downward dog just to neutralize the spine. Straighten it about out again. Inhale, bend knees. Let them find the mat. Swing your legs out in front of you. And then roll down your spine. So your spine is on the mat. Your knees are bent. Your hands are almost kind of touching your heels. And we're going to do bridge pose. So inhales, you lift up through your hips, pressing your hips towards the sky, drawing your inner thighs towards each other. And exhale, lower down. Straighten your right leg out. Flex your right foot. Inhale, press up through your left foot. Try and see if your right leg can be in a straight line with the same angle of your left thigh. And then inhale it up towards the sky. Exhale all the way down. Bend your right knee. Straighten your left leg. Press into your hands. And then lift your left foot towards the straight line as you press out through your right hips. Take one more breath, and then inhale, kick your left foot completely towards the sky, pressing up and out through your right foot, your right thigh, and exhale, release all the way down. Now, here we can either just go into Shavasana, or if you have a block, this is really nice to just open up through the shoulders a little more. So straighten out your legs. And if you want to find Shavasana, just relax. Let your legs fly out wide. But if you have a block, go ahead and grab it and place it beneath your upper spine. So I like to have the bottom edge kind of in the middle of my spine. And so then the top edge sits right at the top edge of my shoulder blades. And then here, just kind of relax onto the block, letting it stretch out your spine. If you want, you can also have like a rolled up towel or something a bit gentler to stretch onto. And then here, just relax. So let your hips fall out wide. Let your arms fall out, palms towards the sky. Close down your eyes. And just breathe here. You might want to play around with where the block is placed. I like to move it at all levels of the block and in all places of my back. But if you're just starting with block stretching on your back, then I would suggest you stay here or stay with a towel. But if you do want more, another thing that I like to do is I like to place it underneath my hips. So with the long edge kind of right directly underneath my hip bones. And then here I like to pull into my hips to kind of sink them down a bit more, letting your legs fall out and letting this just decompress the lower part of your spine, and then releasing your hands. So these are both wonderful ways to end a class, just to completely relax deep into your body. And just stay here for a few minutes or in your Shavasana. Focus on your breath, on any sensations floating through your body. And while you're here, try and think of one thing that you're grateful for. It can be big or small. It can be something happening in your life or something about yourself. And try and carry that gratitude with you for the rest of the day. And if ever you seem to get frustrated or something's not going your way, just take a few breaths and bring yourself back to this moment and back to the thing that you're grateful for. Maybe you're just grateful for being here. Thank you for practicing with me. I'm going to stay here quite a bit longer, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.